back to my channel. As you can see, I got my hair washed and deep conditioned, and I am, by the topic of the video, we are talking about the pros and cons of travel nursing. So I'm going to do my hair and we're gonna chit chat because it's a lot of tea that I gotta give y'all for all the girlies who are thinking about travel nursing, especially if you have a family, because that's my realm. I am not single, I am not young, super young, and I am not child free. So let's get into it. To this talk about travel nursing. Okay, a lot of people are like under the assumption. All right, so let's go back to the pandemic. The pandemic is when the girlies were out here pushing travel nursing something crazy because there was a huge shortage of nurses, period, because of the pandemic. A lot of people decided to bow out. They didn't want to do it. I was one of those people. Kind of wish I was doing travel nursing around that time now. And that's when the girlies was making like 10K a week, 8K. You was seeing them make bank. You hear me? The girlies all started jumping on the bandwagon for travel nursing because why not? Especially when you're making that much money so fast, you could save and do a lot of things that you've been trying to do way faster. So now you're not making like pandemic rates, okay? Because it's not a pandemic. Have children, or I don't know if I should do a wash and go, or shoot, I don't know if I should do a wash and go or a freaking twist out now because the curls are curling. Travel nursing has gone back to like its regular rates, if not lower. I think travel nursing is the greatest way to try and save money fast, especially if you do it in an area that is not as expensive. Like the cost of living is not that bad. I think that's important. I think you should pick somewhere where the cost of living is a lot cheaper, safer, it's closer to the inner city, but still cheap. Now the rates are okay, it just depends on where you're going, okay? A lot of places are paying what nurses will make in 2 weeks every week. So to me, that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, especially if you come here and save and find a place that's not as expensive to stay in. Well, I did it because my daughter's graduating. I want to make sure she has the money that she needs to graduate and do prom and do all the things because we're doing a big trip for her graduation, just me and her sister. And to be able to afford that and do all the things I need to do for the household and everything else, I was like, yeah, let's do this contract real quick because we have 4 kids and I want my kids to experience a lot of things without taking from my other kids, if that makes sense. So I decided to do this. So the pros I will say is that you get paid weekly. You get paid what you would normally make in 2 weeks every week. So yeah, that's way more. I'm making 4 times as much as I usually make, which is a plus if you are financially frugal and doing what you need to do. For us, we have 2 places to live, right? And you have to have 2 places to live to get that housing stipend, right? Or you could just say whatever, you could use somebody else's address. Have bills at home. And of course my husband helps, but my husband ended up getting hurt at work, injured. Workman's comp, they took him out of work completely in the beginning of his workman comp case, which put a damper on what we was going to do. So if you have a clear plan and stuff, it works. It completely works. Had my husband worked the whole time and got 100% of his check, oh my goodness, we would have really been doing what we needed to do. But you know, shit happens, and we ended up still in a good place because with him getting only 70% of his check, you know, we still was good, you know? So I'm still like going to do a contract this summer, but it will be when we get back from our trip, and it's not gonna be far. I'm trying to find something closer to home because this was a little bit too much for me. And without having to work extra shifts. So you're making what mostly people would make in 4 shifts in 1 week, doing only 3 shifts, the bare minimum. Now, if you're out here doing overtime and stuff while you're out here, you're going to really bank, you know? I've only been offered overtime twice since being out here. One was literally yesterday, and one was when I first started my first week. And yesterday I didn't go because I didn't feel good. My stomach was hurting, so I didn't want to go in. So I missed out on that overtime. The girlies come out here and they just work nonstop, and that's why they're banking crazy amounts of money. They're just working. So for the people who are a little bit older, you know, I don't know, this may not be your jam. For people who are really trying to save money and they only have to worry about themselves and they don't have kids and maybe they are older, this would be great. You could keep doing assignment after assignment and just staying in places short term, and you don't have and just use somebody's address at home. So that's the pros. The pros is definitely the pay still, but the pay is nowhere where the girlies are trying to make it sound like. It's not where it was during pandemic. You can still negotiate, you can still find really good rates, but it's nowhere near what the girlies was making during the pandemic, okay? You're not making 10K a week unless you're doing like a bunch of overtime and stuff. So that's the pros. It's great for if you're a traveler and you like to travel and go new places and explore. Travel nursing is great for you because you would explore and go to destinations that you've been probably wanting to visit. Iowa wasn't a place that I wanted to visit, but they had a good rate based off of the other places that I was looking at the time. Probably enjoyed myself more if I went somewhere that I've been really wanting to go, like Seattle or California. So I'm gonna get my license in California so that I can get that opportunity to go to Cali and pick somewhere safe to live. Very important, especially if you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. I've seen horrible things happen to some travel nurses. Meeting new people. If you like meeting new people, then this is definitely something that you may want to do. You can meet other travel nurses because most of the time if they have a contract, there's multiple people on the contract who are introverts. I don't know if this would be great for you. If you are an introvert who likes to travel, and this may be great because I was kind of like introverted myself. Like I didn't go out with people. I just started really taking a liking to some of the people that are here, and yeah, I didn't really do much with people because I'm very big on learning people and getting to know them and trust them. So I didn't really go anywhere with nobody. Anytime I had time off, I ended up going away. So if this is you, then you may struggle a little bit. If you get homesick fast, you may struggle a little bit. So the pros are great for extroverted people who like to meet new people, okay? So that's another thing you should take into consideration when doing an assignment. If you're cool with just being out here and doing things on your own, then you'll do great. If you're coming out here to make sure you focus, want to work out, just stack money and just focus on yourself, that's another reason all the time. So I was in charge of the kids most of the time and had to make shit work, make things juggle, cook, and all that. So now he had to do that, and boy, will I tell you, he was exhausted. So that was good for us. The cons are here. If you pick a place that's expensive because you're worried about your safety, because I'm a woman out here by myself. So I was worried about my safety. So I'm picking places in decent neighborhoods, populated neighborhoods, apartments that are gated and you need a code to get in and stuff like that, because I'm here by myself. I will say that my apartments weren't very cheap, so I didn't really get to save as much as I wanted to because I wasn't picking places in the hood. I wasn't picking places that were questionable. I didn't have nobody to room with. So that's another pro. If you know another travel nurse or you know another nurse that's thinking about traveling, getting a contract together would be amazing because you could save, go half and half on the rent, and you'll have somebody here that you know, somebody here that you're comfortable with. But yeah, this was okay for me. I wouldn't mind doing it, but I want to do it more closer to home where I could work 3 shifts back to back and then go home on the 3rd shift after work, drive back home. So that's where I'm at if I take another contract. Yeah, that's my con. Another con is I didn't really get to know people because I'm not big on trusting people right away. I'm here by myself, makes you a target, you know what I'm saying? And I use this opportunity to travel and to not drop the ball for my children as well. So that's why it's a little different for me. And as a parent, that is always there for their kids, this may be a little bit harder for you. I did miss like some of their show choir, which I'm not used to doing, especially being that I'm a chaperone. So that was a little hard for me, but they FaceTimed me, like the other chaperone moms, my bestie, me up to date. I got to watch it virtually. So I still was there in spirit, and I had times where I was crying because I missed my family. It's very hard when you're very family oriented and you're very close to your family and your kids. So that's super involved. You may want to see about doing a contract closer to home first. What else? Another con is, my rent ended up being at a couple of places, like almost $1,600. We get stipends, so my stipend for rent is almost $800 a week. So with that being said, if I could find a place where I could pay like $800, $900 a month, then I'm saving, I'm doing well. But because I ended up finding places that were more economically challenging, but in a space that is very nice, because I'm going to show you the spaces up here. The spaces were very nice. They were comfortable, clean. I don't want to be nowhere where there's roaches, bed bugs, mice. So yeah, that's not worth it to me. So with that being said, you got to think about that too. For me, because I ended up having to change housing like 3 times. Three to 4 times, and that's tiring, moving from place to place. I felt like a nomad. Get down to the actual assignment. I'm going to the facility and how they treat you. So in the beginning, they treated me amazing. They were very nice. They seemed very nice, very helpful. The training is not going to be a training situation that you would have as staffing. You get 3 nights to train. You orient. You're not doing like a full onboarding orientation. You're precepting, and by the 3rd night, you should be precepting to the point where you're doing everything yourself. They start actually the 2nd night, which you're doing everything yourself. So you don't have time to really learn the systems. You don't have time to really learn everything. So your goal when you go in there is to learn where everything is, write them down, write down protocols, write down what you need to chart, when to call. Some of that stuff is nursing judgment. So you call based on how you feel, doctors and stuff like that. But as for protocols, make sure you get the protocols, make sure you find out where everything is that's important, like respiratory section, because this is more respiratory. I had a lot of trach patients, so I need to know where the ballads are. I need to know where the oral suctions are, the nasal suctions are. I need to know where the extensions are for oxygen and stuff like that. I need to know where their ambu bags are, where you keep them, where do you keep the extra suctioning when you go to give them showers and stuff like that. So like those are the things that are more important for you to learn right away, so your nursing license is not in jeopardy because you don't know where something is and stuff like that. So yeah, so I would say if you're not a fast learner, if you don't adapt well and you don't have like the tools you need for your nursing judgment to do this, then you should definitely not do this. If you're not good at adapting to new environments, do not do this, because this will put your nursing license in jeopardy. So with that being said, I hope these things helped you. Those are the cons. The cons are also the fact that your schedule may not be the best because you are literally helping out. You are here to fill in the gaps of their staffing needs. So you can, depending on where you are at and where you're working, you may get canceled because they will cancel agency before they cancel anybody else. You may end up with the crappy assignments when you get there because nobody else wants them, so they're going to give them to agency. You may end up with the heavier patients because, like, once again, your agency and they don't give a damn. You may end up in situations where the nurse-patient ratio is not the best either. So that's something you need to take advantage of and learn, and you need to speak up and advocate. So if you're not used to speaking up and advocating for yourself, travel nursing shouldn't be something you do, because you want to speak up because they will throw you under the bus. They do not care about you or your license. So you need to be speaking up, and you need to be telling them, like, hey, this is an unsafe assignment, which I had to do closer to the end of my contract. They started really messing with me right before I went to Puerto Rico, and that was halfway through my contract. In the beginning of my contract, I was like, oh yeah, I would definitely renew here. This is amazing. The way they do things is amazing. I was not contracted to be afloat. I was contracted on a specific unit with a specific manager. They started putting me on a different unit and started like putting me over people and delegating and trying to give me over 9 patients, and which was unsafe. The acuity of that hall or that unit was not suffice for that many nurse-patient ratio. I was going from 4 to 5 patients to maybe 4 to 6 patients to like 9 patients in that unit. So I was like, no ma'am. So because I spoke up, I was called a diva, she's bougie. You know, I've heard like the stories that they were saying about me. So, you know, that doesn't hurt my feelings. I've been called worse. So this, you know, being called bougie or a diva because I spoke up and advocated for me and myself and my license and the patients, because I'm advocating for them too, because if you know you can't take on that many patients, as you shouldn't, especially if the acuity is high and the patient load is heavy and these patients are sickly, you speak up. You speak up and get called the diva, get called whatever it is that they need to call you to make themselves feel better, you know. But at the end of the day, I've saved a ton of lives, advocated for patients for amazing care plans because they were, you know, some of the situations were not okay. Some of the situations, like if this was your kid, would you do that, you know? So, you know, I started seeing a lot of things, and once you're somewhere for a little while, you start seeing things. So you have to speak up for yourself. So I will say, other than that, they learned very early I wasn't the 1 or the 2. So now they've asked before they put me on different units, and they make sure that they're heavily staffed because they know I will not accept the assignment. I'm not even accepting the assignment, so you can't say I abandon patients if I don't accept it at all, you know? So that's that, and they make sure of it. Call me what you want, but you won't catch me slipping. You won't catch me slipping, you hear me? And I'm a chart to the wheels fall. Make sure you're charting and making sure that you are covering your own A, okay? CYA, okay? And that's about it. So those are the pros and the cons. The cons are not as bad as the pros. We have more pros than cons. And honestly, you would do like how you would do any other time. Standard precautions. Make sure you're keeping yourself safe and the kids safe, or people safe, because I'm doing pediatrics. Make sure that you are advocating for yourself and the patients. And I think you will have a great assignment. When you speak up, do not do it passive aggressively. Let them know. Be concerned when you're talking about it, because you are in fact concerned, and let them know that it's not safe and that's not, you don't come here to be abused. And hopefully you have a great assignment, and you know you're not being treated horribly by the other nurses. When the nurses started noticing that I was going away and stuff like that, that's when I started like noticing that they didn't like me and all this other stuff, which I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. Like I told you before, I was here to stack this bread and do what I need to do for my family, in which I was able to do. And I'm gonna go home and do the same thing with my PRN position. You know, I'm here to work. I'm not here for all that other stuff. You know, stay out my business, keep it private, do what I need to do, you know? And that's it. That's it. So we are almost finished with the hair, and I gave you all the tea that I feel that you need to know about travel nursing. To this, pros and cons of travel nursing, just let me know in the comments what else any other questions you have about travel nursing, and I got you. We are done with this last piece of hair, and we are almost done. So I'm about to finish this up, finish doing my laundry, order some meat to finish making food. Also, if you can cook and make sure that you have food for your shifts so you're not eating out as often too, because that's another way to save money. I Instacart. I didn't drive, so that's another thing. If you could drive to your location too, drive to your location. So this way you're saving money, and when you want to go home, you don't always have to get on a flight. But for me, I was like, I need to fly because I don't like driving, and it's 10 hours away. And I know me, I'm not really that great of a long distance driver. I mean, I think after I start doing this for a little bit, I probably could get better, but I'm just not, I don't like driving. So your girl racked up her mileage doing this, so. And the skin is skinning. Can we get into it? So now we're gonna dry the hair. This is the hair. I use the Eco Style because I don't have a lot of my products here with me. I use the Eco Style Argan Oil line with the Mayo Organics leave-in conditioner. I don't have it on me. And the skin is glowing and the hair is hairing. So I hope this video helps you in making a decision that's best for you and your family. If you are single, I would eat this up and literally use my parents' address and just travel the world and enjoy life and rack up that money, like period. Take on a PRN assignment as well so you can rack up that money. But I'm not that young, so I'm like almost 40. I'm tired. I've been a nurse for over 10 years and I'm a little burnt out. So I just did the bare minimum while I was here, but if I needed to, I would pick up shifts with like a PRN job too. So remember, if you have, compact license, if you have a compact license, you can go to different states with no issues without having to get a new license. Now, if you are a non-compact state, you have to apply for a license, New York, California, for example. So that's that. Hope that helped. I will be back with some more videos when I go home, and the next video will probably be my birthday video and a vlog for my birthday. See you on the next video. Make sure you press that button and subscribe to your girl's channel and follow along on my journey, because we have a lot of stuff coming up soon. We got prom, we got graduation, we got to choose a school, all that. So just make sure you're staying along because your girl is busy. This is a busy year, okay?